Right, I'm back. A hungry cat waits for no one. So anyway, we started making that cherry. I'm going to let that dry out. Oh, she says, splashing water on it. Let that dry out a bit. There we go. Because I want to put the stalk in later. So I'm going to show you now. You could make another cherry without drawing it. Okay, let's just use the red. Oh, that's a big one. And we're going to leave a highlight on this one, just there, okay? And I'm going to add more pigment, make it really red. And you could, if you wanted to, because some cherries are quite purpley, some are yellow, some are red. They're all quite different, so I'm going to be a little bit experimental and just add one of my blues a bit. Just mix it in while it's wet and make your cherry look a little bit purple. But you see what fun you can have, and it's such a simple little fruit. And I've posted lots of pictures so you can see the sort of things that I've done. I'm leaving that gap for the stem. And also remember, cherries sometimes have like, how can I express it? They have like a crease. So it's like a little, two little halves put together. So what you could do, you could create that shape here on this one here, this purpley one. Bit more red. See, mixing the colour on the paper, it's still wet, but we can go back to that when it's dried off a bit. Okay, and then, just so I know what I'm doing, the stalks are often a browny colour. Move that out of the way a bit. So let's just go, there we are, and there's usually some sort of stem where it's joined the branch. And we can have a little bit of green. Well, that's still wet. Just run it in, and there's your stem. I'm not going to go back and do any more to that one because it's got the pencil round it, but I hope you're getting the idea of how easy these can be. Still playing with the colour. Okay, now I'm going around there a little bit. I'm rinsing my brush off and drying it off, and I'm just activating a bit of that colour there, just so it's not white, but you want that little light bit round there, not behind it. Let's put a, like your apple, do you remember on your apple that you did? The light will be catching on this fruit and it will be reflecting backwards and forwards on the light, on the shiny surface. So that's why you're making that fairly pale. And we can accentuate it by making the other bit darker. And again, just carefully. So it's not a completely white highlight. Okay, let's put more of the blue around the bottom because the light's coming this way. So this is going to be the dark, oh dear, that's a bit too blue, isn't it? This will be the dark side of the cherry. Have a bit more red. And remember that shape we talked about? In fact, what I'm going to do, I've lost my highlight because I'm working very wet, so what I'm going to do is just lift a bit off. See how forgiving watercolours can be? Just lift a little bit off, there we go. And what we can do is just, with a bit of the blue, oh, meow, meow. I would interrupt you at the worst time. Just put a little bit of shadow. We won't worry about a shadow for the stalk, but let's just make a shadow for the cherry so it looks as if it's sitting on something. I'm going to let that dry for a couple of minutes, then come back to it and just accentuate a few bits.